I'm Bill Otter. I'm the Center Director for the Paul Simon Chicago Job Corps Center. Job Corps is a U.S. Department of Labor program that supports 16 to 24-year-old eligible young adults to complete their high school education and learn a trade and then continue on in that trade either in their careers or potentially move on to the U.S. military or potentially move on to college. But the primary students move on to starting a career in the trade that they've learned here at Job Corps. At Paul Simon Chicago Job Corps Center, we offer painting, carpentry, bricklaying, material handling and distribution, security and protective services, certified nursing assistant, and pharmacy technician. There are many other trades offered at the 121 Job Corps centers throughout the nation, but those are the ones specifically offered right here at our Paul Simon Chicago campus. Well, our whole program is open to 16 to 24-year-olds, and there are occasionally in some of our trades some requirements for a fully qualified individual to be 18 in order to achieve that certification. But we help each individual pursue that or understand what those requirements are or how they'll impact them as they go through the process of developing their individual career plan, which is one of the things that every student completes when they start here to map out their own individual path to success here in Job Corps.
I'm Alicia Garcia Abner, and I'm the president of Trino Inc. We are a diversity, equity, and inclusion consulting firm. We've been in business, it'll be 25 years on Halloween, October the 31st. Job Corps is one of the resources that Trino looks to and recommend to our clients when they have a workforce goal or initiative. And again, goals are the floor, they're not the ceiling. So we work with a number of resource partners. One is Job Corps. Job Corps is a great program, particularly for young people. It is the only pre-apprentice program that is sanctioned by the unions. It is sponsored by the unions as well as the Department of Labor.
So the great thing about Job Corps is it's not just a trade school. It's not just a program to finish your high school education or in that trade. We have a residential campus here at the Paul Simon Chicago Job Corps Center. It's a 33-acre campus. We have dormitories, we have recreation facilities, we've got a cafeteria, we've got wellness services that include physicians, mental health specialists, nurses, dentists, and of course we have career counselors and all kinds of other people to support a student through their experience here on center. Not every student has to be a residential student here, but they have the opportunity to go do that. Moving here to the campus sometimes provides that break from the neighborhood that they grew up in and allows them to focus on themselves for maybe the first time. Along the way, while they're working towards the completion of their high school education, if they need that, or toward the completion of their trade, will help make sure they have the rest of the tools that they need in order to be successful in their career. So if they need to earn their driver's license or get a state ID, we're going to help them accomplish that. We've got our own driver's ed program that we offer to make sure that they can get that, because getting to the work site is a pretty important part of being able to be successful in your career. If they need to find housing afterwards, then we'll help them work with some of the other agencies here in the city of Chicago to help them find safe, stable housing so they've got an address and they've got a place to live so that they can safely go on and be successful in their careers. So we wrap all that stuff together, and then when they complete their pre-apprenticeship credentials here at the Paul Simon Chicago Job Corps Center, throughout that training, they've got the opportunity to work with the local unions, right? The local training centers. And so we'll take them out and they'll get introduced to see what opportunities are right there. They'll get to meet with employers. Many of them are union employers, but not all of them. It's not the right path for every single student. But for those who are interested, they get an opportunity to meet with the union and go through the induction period there with the union, and they get to jump right ahead, right? Because they've already taken care of some of that first apprenticeship training. And in other cases, they go to work for an employer who may be a non-union employer and still have the basic skills they need to be very successful. So it's always exciting to see those opportunities rise for each one of these students and for them to take advantage of those. And our students have had a lot of success as they've left here and gone to work for employers. Our students demonstrate the career success skills that they've developed here that I think separate them from just coming off the street, right? It helps them better understand how to be a good employee and be able to achieve and meet those requirements that employers have, so that they can go on to have a full career, not just a job, but a full career with the organizations that select them. I think one of the great things about Job Corps is the fact that the entire program is free to the individual. As I talk to new students who arrive here every week to start the program, because we have an open enrollment and new students can start every single week of the year, I remind them that this is about a $35,000 to $40,000 grant, full ride scholarship essentially, that they've earned to come here to Job Corps. That's what we're putting into their success. That means that not only is all their training free, their housing's free, their meals are free, we do recreation trips, we have incentives, and they also earn a stipend while they're here. It's not a significant amount of money, but it's enough to help them cover a few things along the way. And then of course the program provides uniforms and protective equipment that they would need in any of their trades. And then as they complete the program, then there's also a small clothing allowance as well, just to make sure that they have everything they need to go off and be successful here in the program. The thing I'm most proud of is the success of our students. We have students who come from all over, specifically mostly all across the city of Chicago. And many of them just haven't had the opportunity to have the support that the staff here at Paul Simon Chicago provide to them. We have almost 150 staff members here at the center, and we all only have one purpose, and that's to help each individual student be successful.
My name is Pavel Villalobos, and I'm here in Job Corps to have a better life for myself, and also here to have my carpenters union and also be a carpenter in the future. I've been enrolled since 2019. The problem was that I was doing everything right. I was about to finish, but COVID happened, and then that 2 years, after those 2 years, I was working and job after job, trying to help my family up. I heard from my father, he was a trucker now, so I was in his truck, we were talking about it, because I said I didn't want to go to college, because school's not for everybody. And I told him, like, hey, this is one of my thoughts, and he told me, go to Job Corps. The reason why he knows Job Corps, because he tried to apply once. The way I did it was actually call them. So I went to the website, look up which one I wanted. So I choose one here in Chicago, called the number. They're gonna ask me, do you want to talk to a person? That person was Mr. Sosa. He actually got me to where I am right now because he's really helpful. He told me, hey, I got you, don't worry. Even when I was like trying to get in, he was the one getting on it. He's like, I got you, you're gonna be here again, don't worry. And I'm like, I pray and hope, and I got back here and I was pretty happy. What I'm most proud of myself is just how I actually fixed myself during this Job Corps experience. It shows me another light, and it shows me other opportunities that I didn't have before. It showed me that, wow, I can actually do something with my life. And like, wow, this is like my second chance.
My name is Anna Figueroa, carpentry instructor at Paul Simon Job Corps. I have been in the construction field for the past 12 years prior to that. 10 years in concrete and then 2 years of interior. And I was working in the field, and thank God this was always my dream job. But with all dream jobs, there are some headaches that you deal with, but you learn to overcome them as a carpenter. And I feel like I have a great lead instructor that helps me. I was a Job Corps student 14 years ago. And as a Job Corps student, you are in learning mode. You are hopefully trying to achieve something better. And that's what I try to remind the students, is that you're here for a purpose, to be better than what you were when you came here. So that was my goal, and my instructor at the time emphasized that there would be a lot of obstacles, but if you were willing to overcome those obstacles, anything was possible.
My name is Randy Wiestenberg, local 58 here in Chicago, lead instructor for Paul Simon Job Corps. Started out as a carpenter out in the field, a lot of concrete work, bridges, high-rises, cofferdams, and then got a job as a foreman, with the truck and all the amenities and the headaches with that, and slowly built up to being a superintendent for a couple companies. And then a job opened up here to be an instructor, and I applied for it and was fortunate enough to get it. Well, we start out the day with attendance, and then we have stretching in the shop. And after that, we take them outside, do material handling. So they're carrying Simon forms, 3/4 sheets of plywood, 2x4s, 2x6s, and plank. And then we go over their curriculum. They'll have math that they'll have to do. So we do, because they have to take the union test, the math test to get in the union. And then our regular curriculum from handsaw safety to power tool safety. We also teach them OSHA 30. So when they separate here, to get them in the union, they don't have to take that class. So it's a pre-apprentice program, but they have a real advantage once they get there, considered just apprentice coming in. Because we track them for a year, so once they separate here, it's our job to try to find them work 12 months after they separate. So nothing brings us both pleasure is for us to land them up with a job and have them come back and talk to the students and tell them, hey, this thing is real.
Hi, my name is Daisy Calderon, and actually I'm vice president here at Job Corp. So that's a little something cool, little cool fact about me. For vice president, we definitely talk to students about what kind of change they want to see around here. Change being the food, change being more activities, planning student activities, planning field trips outside of Job Corps, and things like that. Definitely about education too, like what we want to see in education rooms, what we want to see in our painting rooms, our budgets, and all that. My trade is painting, so painting and then sanding sometimes. We do like work with mud and stuff. It's cool. So my mom brought it up to me because I didn't graduate high school. And she was like, why don't you go to Job Corps? And I'm like, okay, so I did that, and now I'm here, and it's been good so far. So the application process was really easy. I got in contact with one of the instructors. She just walked me through applications, my social security, my ID, and my birth certificate and all that. And then I came here, and then they give you like shots and stuff, so like to test you, and COVID testing and all that, so it was partially easy. If you want to achieve something really good, I think Job Corps is a great opportunity for everyone.
My name is Natalie Ferez, and I am 20. I'm from Chicago. Back in high school around 2020, at the time I was enrolled in a program called WONGO. It was a 2-year program where they help high school students pursue a career after high school. But at the time I didn't know what I wanted to pursue in life or in education. My biggest interest was always working, but working with my hands, like in construction. So I really didn't know what to study. But luckily my teacher provided me a list of trade schools, and one of them was Job Corps. He had a really good connection with the school. He made a few phone calls and connected him with the admission counselor. And then from there, we just set up an interview, and I got to talk to him, and then he just ended up enrolling me in the school. So I was on a waiting list to join the school here. So for those 2 years, I was actually working in construction. I was doing different things like roofing, doing framing, flooring, and just demolition. And I was just doing all types of construction. Before I enrolled, they gave us the option to choose 3 trade programs. So they have a variety of programs in the school, but the most that got my attention was the construction trades, which is they have bricklaying, painting, and carpentry. So we had our top 3 we could choose, but I didn't want the other 2 programs. The only thing I was focused on was carpentry. So that's the route I took. We all have our designated counselor depending on our trade. So we always talk to our counselor depending on what we need. So me, I have a child. So I always have to go see him on the weekends. That was like my thing. I always wanted to go see him on the weekends. So luckily the school gave us, they call weekend passes. We just have to come back before Monday so we could be here for Monday morning, right? Where there's opportunity comes great difficulties. I'm the type of person where my mindset is very straightforward. Even no matter how hard things are, I always see through things. So I'm that type of person where I'm very determined, and it's just I don't give up. So I'm most proud of that.
And Natalie has been one of their stellar students. She's graduated, and our hopes is that when we have an area of opportunity with one of our subcontractors on this project, that Natalie will be sponsored by that contractor into the union and also working on our project. And not only that project, but that company will keep her on and she'll be a part of their crew. And we will see her not only on the CTA related projects, but other projects throughout the city of Chicago.